Is it just a coincidence that Apple Music hasn't updated their subscriber count since 2023? Does this mean that Spotify truly does have a monopoly over streaming? To answer that question, I'm going to break down how many users are on the top 6 platforms in the US. And I'll be doing this with the most up-to-date metrics that we have at the time of making this video. First off, I wanted to start with Amazon and YouTube Music. Both platforms have a really strong user base, with Amazon Music sitting at 80 million users as of 2023, and YouTube Music has 125 million users as of March in 2025. The only problem with including them in this debate, though, is that their numbers aren't as specific as the rest of the platforms that I'm diving into today. If we're going off numbers alone, then these two are big platforms that we simply cannot overlook. But when you look deeper, these statistics include the people who subscribe to Amazon Prime and YouTube Music, making it nearly impossible to decipher between who uses it solely for streaming music. Maybe we'll get more in-depth statistics in the future, but for now, we just need to take these two at face value and move on to our next platform, Tidal. Going into this video, I figured Tidal would be a big player in this debate, specifically because of how culturally relevant they've been from how high their audio quality is. After looking into the data though, that is simply not the case, at least when it comes to market share specifically. Reports on their number of users range anywhere from 2 to 5 million, and this makes up just about 0.5% of total market share. And when you take into account that their CEO literally laid off 25% of their staff at the end of 2024, things may not be looking great for Tidal at the moment. Now, we're moving on to SoundCloud. According to Statista, SoundCloud had 140 million users at the end of 2023. When I searched for the number of paid users though, there was absolutely no concrete data to be found. I also came across an article by Business of Apps, which shared that SoundCloud deleted 70 million accounts between 2015 to 2018 due to inactivity. This doesn't come as a big surprise to me because I only listen to it for live versions, unreleased songs, uncleared samples, and more. But either way, 140 million users is not something to turn your head at, even if it is mainly just the free plan. Now it's time for Spotify's main competitor, Apple Music. Apple Music is without a doubt the name that comes up the most in cultural debates compared to Spotify, and this made me wonder how big the gap really is between the two. As per a report from Statista in 2023, Apple shared that they have 93 million paying subscribers, and this was an increase of about 5 million from the year prior. While this number is technically dwarfed by YouTube Music's 125 million or SoundCloud's 140 million, the data gives us reason to believe that Apple Music still has the second most paying subscribers for a platform that solely streams music. After the success of Kendrick Lamar's halftime show for the Super Bowl that was sponsored by Apple Music and their slew of promotions which included 6 months for $1, I really figured that they would share their updated numbers in early 2025. But that has simply not been the case, and our most recent update is still from the end of 2023. While 93 million paying subscribers is still extremely notable, it does not even come close to Spotify's user count. Spotify's most recent report, which came at the beginning of 2025, shared that they have a whopping 678 million users. And of those users, 278 million of them are paying subscribers. So to answer the main question of this video, Spotify does seem to have a monopoly over streaming right now. 2024 was also Spotify's first ever full year of profitability as a company, which leads me to believe they're just getting started. As a side note, I did decide to leave China's Tencent Music out of this video, mainly because I live in the US and don't know anything about their platform. They do notably have the second most market share though, with 14.4%. Even if I did include them, their numbers still do ring pretty close to Apple Music or Amazon. I had a strong feeling that the gap between Spotify and everybody else would prove to be massive, but I wanted to make this video to figure out exactly what the distance was. Do I see this monopoly-esque structure changing anytime soon? Probably not, but at least now we know where things stand, and we can look back on this video whenever Apple Music updates their subscribers. I do think that Apple Music had to have gained some subscribers because of the exclusivity of the Kendrick halftime show at first, as well as with these promotions, but only time will tell. Thank you for taking the time to explore this idea with me though, and it would mean the world if you watched one of my most recent videos to help me keep reaching a larger audience. With that said, I'll see you in the next video.